Welcome, welcome. This is so exciting. I'm so glad to see everyone. Most of you know me, but just in case, I'm Michelle Bukai, the Israel and Overseas Director at the Jewish Federation and supervisor of all these wonderful Shlichim. Before we start, a few logistics. We know that you're excited to see the Shlichim, and we promise there's going to be time at the end for Q&A and sharing fun stories. In the meantime, please stay muted as we give the Shlichim an opportunity to talk and tell us about their lives. We'll go through 2 rounds of each Shliach speaking, and then we'll open it up to Q&A. At this point, you'll probably want to switch to speaker mode so you can see who's speaking. That should be on the upper right-hand corner of your screen. Indianapolis has had Shlichim for the past 12 years, since 2008. It's a wonderful program in collaboration with the Jewish Agency for Israel, an historic partner of the Federation. Our current Shlicha is Lian Bar Zohar, who would like to share a few thoughts.
Shalom. Hi, everybody. My name is Lian. I'm an emissary, Shlicha. I'm so excited and want to welcome you all to other event that us as an emissaries, Shlichim, this is what we came here to do as a community Shlichim. We're doing tons of events and bringing Israel in a different kind of color and personality, each and every one of us, all 8 of us. And I'm really excited to host this event because this is the first event that I'm hosting, and all the former me of Indianapolis is participate. And on personal note, this is the first time that my parents, Bella and Avi, are seeing me. Abba, Ima, ani ohevet atkhem. Back to you, Michelle.
Thank you. And welcome Lian's parents. Bruchim habayim. Okay, so let's begin. Shlichim, in the first round, I will introduce you, and then please tell us what you're doing now, where you are, anything new and exciting in your life, and a fun memory of your time in Indy. This is like having all my children home for the holiday. So let's start with Etay, our firstborn. He came to us a week after he finished the army. Like new parents, we didn't know what to do, and he had to learn everything from scratch. We received a donated car from the Peskovitz family, thank you, and rented an apartment that was too small and in a difficult neighborhood. We quickly realized that we had to make some changes, and we rented an apartment across West Lane Middle School. Without having anyone to show him the ropes, Etay very quickly learned the lay of the land and started innovative programs. Among them, Indianapolis's first community Yom HaZikaron ceremony, Israel Memorial Day. He also did an interactive program to teach youth about the political system in Israel. And thanks to his incredible musical talents, he formed the one and only Indy teen rock band. Later, during Q&A, be sure to ask him about his love for Chipotle, his ranking at Buffalo Wild Wings for surviving their spiciest food, and why his name is on the wall at Union Jack's in Broad Ripple. Etay?
Some of the faces I see here haven't changed for the last 12 years, so obviously there is some of youth out there among the Hoosiers. So I'm really excited to see you. I see so many faces that have been years since I see them, so it's really exciting to see you. It's been a long ride since 2008. When I just arrived, Bush was the president. Blockbuster was the main thing that I used to see movies through 86 and inch, no Netflix, only the red envelopes. So much change since then. I believe if I need to highlight the main things that changed since then, right now, I'm a married man with a +1 little baby. He's 2 years old, and later I will bring him to say shalom, little redhead. And I'm currently working with my wife, Tamar, We run a family business. It's a tourism company. We bring people to Israel all the time, many kinds of delegations and groups and families. And yeah, if I need to, I try really to be short on the point because I know there are so many other shlichim and I don't want to catch their time. But if I need to maybe try to pinpoint probably a unique story that happened during my time as a shaliach. I was very fortunate to work with all the synagogues. I see Rabbi Sasso here. I had the pleasure to work with him, and George Kelly, I see his face over here as well, and all the synagogues, and one of them was IHC. And back then I ran a program, it was part of the Sunday school program during the Sundays for the fifth graders. And on one of the meetings, the lady who used to run the program back then, Rachel Mondiano, she asked me, Ty, your young brother is about the same age of the other kids. Why won't we do something amazing? Back then, remember, it was 2008. And we will make a video call with a kid from Israel and the kids. And I say, sure, why not? I mean, he's only 10, but his English is good enough so we can hold a basic chat. And the kids in Indy prepare a list of questions they want to ask an Israeli kid. And they asked him, one of the questions was, what is your favorite song? He wanted to impress them. So of course he picked an American song. And the song he picked, and I still remember to this very day, the face of the rabbi that chased me after all these years, because his response to the song was, pardon my French, something that sounds like sexy and something that rhyme with itch. Now you remember, you need to see all the faces of the kids, the fifth grader, when they see the response and they see the rabbi and she gives me the look. And I didn't know where to put myself back then. And it was hilarious. And I believe to this very day, Rachel remember it. And yeah, Michelle, back to you.
Thank you. Guy, our second shaliach, he came with many of his own ideas of what to do in Indianapolis. He reached out to the synagogues and forged relationships with Hillels at several universities. Utilizing his army background, he taught students Israeli Krav Maga. In fact, you saw one of the photos of him doing that. We had long conversations about the Russian-speaking Jewish community and our desire to reconnect with them. He understood the need for people to get to know others through culture, food, music, dance. And so together with Russian-speaking volunteers, he helped create a grand event, which he coined Celebrushon. Get it? Celebrushon. A program that was talked about for many years afterwards. Later, during Q&A, be sure to ask him how he makes his most delicious falafel and what his secret ingredient is that gives it a beautiful green tint. Guy?
I ever since upgraded to shakshuka. That's the new expertise. Hi everyone, so exciting to follow up, Etay, and talk to you all. I feel like it's been a decade since I've stepped into the Indy State Fair with Elliot Gold, and trying to figure out why there's elephant ear and what it means, and all these types of new cultural experiences. This was such an amazing year. As you can see, nothing much have changed. Following Etay's footsteps, I got a little beard, but that's pretty much it, or at least I hope. I'm now in London. Ever since Indianapolis, I had the chance to go back to Israel, then go to DC, go back to Israel, then go to get my MBA in New York. And now I decided to give London a chance. So I've been quite the world traveler, which has been fun and exciting. I think one experience that I kind of thought about that was maybe on the first week, which was very exciting, funny, ridiculous at the same time, was my time spent going first grocery shopping in America to Walmart. And me being me, all I wanted was to get a chicken, but every bag said contains white meat. And for me, it was obvious that we're talking about pork, because in Israel, white meat means pork. And so I spent about, I think, 45 minutes across Walmart fridges trying to find a chicken that didn't have white meat, which didn't really work out. So I ended up eating quinoa. But that was, you know, kind of like how everything started. And I feel like I'm so grateful for this as being kind of the introduction to America for me, and working with so many great people. So yeah, I really owe a lot to the experiences I've had in Indianapolis. So glad to be here, glad to see everyone, and back to you, Michelle.
Thank you, Guy. Adi, our first girl. Actually, we were expecting another boy, a shaliach that at the last moment had to cancel because his father became ill. There we were, a few weeks before he was supposed to arrive, and all the other shlichim were already taken by other communities. In the meantime, Adi was supposed to be a shlicha in Italy when they suddenly had to cancel. I ended up meeting her at the airport for a quick interview, but it didn't take more than a few minutes to realize that Adi would be perfect for Indianapolis. And indeed she was. During the first few months, I often asked her what special program she wanted to do that would be hers, an innovative, creative idea that would be specific to her. She always said that she felt something brewing inside, but she didn't know exactly what it was. And then one day she came to me and said, I know. And then the amazing project called The Same Moon was born. See if you can see this. I'm trying. Okay, so this is the book. This is the cover of the book. It was a drawing that, it was a collaboration between Adi and Joni Rothenberg and the children at the Ahestim Hebrew Academy who painted that cover. The book itself that she wrote was brilliant in the way it could connect a family in Israel with a family in Indy. There are lifetime friendships that were forged thanks to the Same Moon Project. You can ask the Mauers about that. During Q&A, be sure to ask Adi what happened to that project after she returned to Israel. Adi?
Hello, everyone. I really want to hug you all. I really miss you. And now when I see your all faces, I understand how the year in Indianapolis was so meaningful for me. I fall in love with the partnership idea during my time in Indianapolis. And since then, I'm doing my shlichut in Israel. I'm working in the partnership unit as a people-to-people coordinator, and I'm making connections every day. I'm working with Tucson, Arizona community and with Orange County community, and here in Israel with Kiryat Malachi and Chof Ashkelon Regional Council. I got many skills and tools during my shlichut in Indianapolis, and I really I can't express how much I really thankful for this year and for all the people that I learned from them a lot. I have 2 kids. Abigail, she turned to 3 last week, and Rotem is turning 10 next week. And I live in Kibbutz Devir. It's 15 minutes north from Be'er Sheva. I really like the community life. And I'm studying in Ben Gurion University for my master's degree in education. And Michelle spoke about the Same Moon. So 2 new versions born since I was in Indianapolis. One is the one that I illustrated and by myself with things that I collect from Israel. And this is one that connected more than sorry, I'm really excited. More than 2,000 people from all over the world. And here in my hands is the 3rd version, and it's a version that I'm planning for Israeli families from different culture, Christian and Arabic family, and Israeli family, and Jewish family, that it connects families in Israel. So And I'm always, like I try to do in Indianapolis, trying to find needs and to answer them in a creative way.
Thank you, Adi. The book looks wonderful. Okay, Marva, our partnership child. We'd always been looking for a shaliach to come from the Western Galilee, our partnership area, but it never worked out until Marva, who is from Kibbutz Chanita, a beautiful place on the border with Lebanon. But it was even better than that. Marva had already been a shlicha in our JCC as an Israeli camp counselor. Many families that knew Marva from camp were so excited to hear that she would be here for a full year. As expected, Marva was great with children. She organized many programs together with PJ Library and YLD, which what we used to call Next Gen was YLD. She did something unique at our Yom HaAtzmaut program for Israel Independence Day. She turned the whole event into a kibbutz celebration because she wanted to give Hoosiers a feel for how her family and friends on the kibbutz celebrate back home. At that time, so it was about 2012, our Shlichim were driving a newer car that we had saved up for years to buy. And thanks to John Abrams, it proudly carries a front plate that says Shaliach Mobile. Thank you, John. Marva.
Hi, everyone. I'm excited too, as Adi and everyone else. I am currently living in Kibbutz Chanita with my husband and my son, who's about to turn 2. I hope he will be here soon and you can see him before he goes to bed. I graduated my master's degree in art therapy, and I'm just finishing my practical hours. Hopefully, because of the corona, it's taking a little bit more time. And just seeing everybody and hearing about the Yom HaAtzmaut event was just a good reminder. That was one of the things that I really remember about the Shlichut. And I think the other thing was just Shabbat dinners. I remember saying that I just can't have a Shabbat dinner that I'm not invited to one house. And I think that was really meaningful for me, being away from my family and being used to having Shabbat dinner with a big family, with all of my cousins and my grandparents. And that's something I really missed. And I think the Indianapolis community really made me feel at home with all the invitations to different homes, people I knew before, people I didn't know before. It was a great, great feeling to be part of. And I loved Indianapolis. Obviously, I came back and came back and came back again. And I really miss it. I wish I could go back and visit you guys soon, but maybe one day.
Thank you, Marva. Roie Swisa is basically an energizer bunny. He came with his own ideas of how to engage people. He knew what he wanted to do, and he ran with it. When he found out that there's a 3-day international festival in Indianapolis that brings in some 40,000 people every year, he decided that Hoosiers definitely need to learn about Israel. And so that's how the Israel booth started participating every year until now. Roie loved to host, but unfortunately, he was still stuck in that small rented apartment. You can't believe how many next-gen folks he managed to cram into that little space for Shabbat dinners. They were sitting on top of each other. They were sitting on the floor on the tiny balcony, but having a great time. That's when we realized that we need a bigger place for our Shlichim so they could host comfortably. Roie wanted his own signature gift when he was invited to people for Shabbat dinner. So he started making pickles. At first, they didn't come out just the way he wanted, so he experimented until he had perfected the recipe. Then, to up the game, he printed labels with his name and a professional wrapping and ribbon. People loved those pickles. During Roie's Shlichut, I started noticing a beautiful girl from Butler University attending a lot of the programs. But you know how the mother is always the last to know? So it's like everybody knew. Roie, is there anything you want to tell us?
So, hi, good seeing you all. I will say that my smile is like so big just seeing all of you right now, like from Linda and Elliot and Freddie and Dennis and Gadi and Lev and Philip and wow. So we will speak about this girl in a second. Maybe she will come into the house after a long day at work. So when I returned from the Shlichut, I completed my degree in industrial engineering and management at Ben Gurion University. And then I worked for a management consulting firm for a year and a half. And recently I shifted into a high-tech job, into a fintech company called Earnex. I'm a data scientist there, and I a little bit shifted with the places that I make my impact now. But today I live in Tel Aviv together with Alex. She's the butler girl that joined to my programs. She made Aliyah, and she completed her advanced degree here in Israel in Tel Aviv University in conflict resolution and mediation. And 2 weeks ago, we just got engaged. So it's very big news in this like times of Corona. And a fun memory for me, it's Etz Chaim. Etz Chaim, it was the synagogue next to the J that I will visit almost every Shabbat. And it will remind me my home. It will remind me the prayers, the melody, the tunes will remind me my family. And like all this sitting around together and hearing these jokes and sipping a whiskey here and this feeling of everybody together. Wow, this was so good. But there's many more stories and I'll be here later on. So thank you, Michelle.
Thank you, Roie. Inbar, who sounds like she's British, was the first shlicha to move into the large house on our campus. The beginning wasn't easy because the house was being fixed up. It wasn't ready when Inbar arrived. Thank you to the Mowers who hosted her for many weeks until it was ready. Inbar, with her impeccable English, brought her passion for current affairs and worked tightly with JCRC, the Jewish Community Relations Council, in talking about Israel to the public. Inbar developed a series of events, Israel Talks, in which she interviewed public figures and dignitaries. I remember her pacing back and forth in the hallway before these interviews saying, "Michelle, I can't breathe. I can't do this. I'm too nervous." And then she'd get on the stage and she'd be the calmest and most natural in the position. By the last interview at the end of her shlichut, she was an absolute professional at it. Inbar's love of film and knowledge about Israeli movies was the impetus for the Israeli and Jewish Film Festival, now going its 5th year. Inbar?
Thank you for this introduction, Michelle. I feel like there's a lot of pressure, and if you could hear my heart, how my heart runs at a moment, it is pacing. First of all, I want to say that this is an incredible opportunity, and in particular in those, I would say, complicated, uneased times that we all go through. It is heartwarming and brings me so much joy to see all those lovely faces that I miss so terribly. I was lucky enough to spend two years with this amazing community, and I was even luckier to see most of you guys last summer, both in Indy and in Denver later on. So it truly was such a pleasure. I'm back in the Moshav. I now live with my grandmother. I take care of my grandmother, who will be soon 96 years old. I am back at teaching. I am again an English teacher, and I'm a homeroom teacher, and I teach diplomacy and communication in my school as well. I teach junior high and high school. And and we're dealing with this situation right now. Our school is actually going back physically into school tomorrow, so there are a lot of preparation. I'm going to stay home in order to kind of protect my grandmother. But I'm so glad that I have those at least 2 hours this evening in order to talk to you guys. When Michelle and Lian asked for a funny memory, I kind of racked my brain in order to find something that will be worthwhile sharing. And I think that one of the first things when I got to Indy, and Roie was still there, we had about a week together. And the first time he gave me the car, the first night that he gave me the car, and he told me, you'll be fine, you know how to find your way back from the Farahans to the Mowers, to stay with the Mowers. And I drove back after dinner, back from the Farahans to the Mowers, and the house was, if I remember correctly, you weren't home. And I stopped by the side of the road in order to put the right address into the GPS. And then I noticed a car with dark windows that started following me. And I got super stressed, and I didn't want to stop my car by the Mowers house because I was afraid I'm bringing thieves into the house. We're talking about Carmel. And it took me a very long time to sit there in the car and wait until I got my courage, and I ran out of the car and into the house and shut the doors, just in order to learn the next day that it probably was an undercover cop. So yeah, Carmel being Carmel. So that was very hilarious to everyone else, very stressful for me. And it was before I befriended half of the police force in Indy. So that happened only later on. I think that's the funniest that I could find. Meanwhile, wonderful to see all of you guys.
Thanks, Inbal. Before we go on, I just wanted to say, if you don't have your camera on, we don't care what you look like. We don't care if your hair is done or not. The Shlichim really want to see you. So if there's any way you can turn on, I'm talking about the people that don't have their cameras on, just do it. They're going to love seeing you. Okay, so let's keep going. Roie Gonen. When we interviewed Roie, he was a senior Israeli counselor at Camp Tamarack for the second time. We were so impressed that we reached out to him across the world to New Zealand, where he was traveling. I think we interviewed him at 5 a.m. his time in a Starbucks, but it was worth it. Roie did wonderful work during the year he was here. Towards Yom HaZikaron, Israel Memorial Day, he introduced many families to Taste of Memories, cooking food together with groups of people as he taught them about a fallen soldier through their favorite foods. It was such a touching and impactful program. And of course, we can't talk about Roie without mentioning his better half, Tom.
100%.
Tom was basically a shlicha together with Roie for the weeks that she was here. She entered the hearts of so many families and children in Indianapolis. Roie?
So thank you, Michelle, and thank you, everyone. And yeah, first of all, she is 100% the better half of this relationship. It's great to see all of you guys and see all the faces over here and all the smiles that you guys have. Right now, we are living together in at Beersheba. I'm studying at Ben Gurion. Tom is also studying over there. We're kind of following Roie Swisa's footsteps over here. I'm also studying industrial and management engineering. We adopted a dog. It is funny, but her name is Debbie. So it didn't happen like that. She was adopted with that name. So we kind of say, well, it suits her and she listens to it. So we love it. And hopefully she loves us also. A funny story. Damn, there's a lot. But I think that one of my first weekends in Indianapolis, Michelle and Inbar and Jeff kind of organized it like on the side of it that I will join the BBYO boys group for a basketball tournament at IU Bloomington. And for me, having that experience of actually seeing all the boys from all over and hearing about BBYO and not actually knowing what it is, but suddenly seeing something like a few good 100 boys just running around after basketball all around the campus over there was for me one of the most special weekends I've ever had. And I have you guys obviously to thank for that. And hopefully we'll have more memories together, more funny stories to tell.
Thank you. Thanks. And last but not least, Lian, our current shlicha. During her interview, Lian sat in her kitchen that was fully decked out with all the necessary cooking tools that we saw behind her. So we realized that cooking and hosting was her passion. And indeed, Lian has made the Shaliach house that is so big, a hub where many people come together, 20, 30, 40, 50 people at a time, and have an opportunity to get to know each other while listening to Lian tell entertaining stories of her heritage, or learn about Rosh Chodesh, or women's empowerment, or Israeli music and ethnicities, all while enjoying Lian's delicious recipes. Indianapolis has never eaten as good as during these past 2 years. Lian, like the Shlichim before her, has worked with many different groups during her Shlichut, with North Central and Carmel High Schools, with Butler University and Ball State and IUPUI and Purdue Hillels, with the Haston Hebrew Academy and with the Center for Interfaith Cooperation, with the JCC Early Childhood and Aftercare, with the Jewish Family Service Lunch Bunch and Kavod members, with the synagogues, and I could go on and on. But now let me give it over to Lian.
Oh my God, Michelle, you made me, well, for those of you who know me, know that I'm sort of a sensitive person. I'm the tears. There's a song in Hebrew that says that the tears go on themselves. Dolgot admot matzman. So, toda. So, guess what I'm doing? Like, I'm working as an emissary, as a shlicha. My current job is this. It's my first time in the United States. I never been in United States. So for me, come here as a social worker. I have a master's degree in social working in Tel Chai University. Working in this community is so fulfilling and so different than anything that I ever worked through my long life. But you said something about stories. Like, I worked with so many organizations. So I have two funny stories. First of all, the beautiful Roie Gonen, when he did me the torch passing. So it was, so I have a blank from this week that he taught me about speaking, and Rabbi Sesso that just going to close the door, he introduced me to Rabbi Sesso, and well, we are approaching the high holidays, and Lian, you're supposed to read the tefillah for Shlom Medinat Israel, and I'm talking about 2 weeks of shlichut. I was, and if you're talking about Inbar, I was shaking. It's a biblical English. It's, oh my God, like I was standing with my dress and everything, and I didn't aware until I arrived to the synagogue that over 1,000 people are gonna watch me, Lian from Israel, public speaking in front of them. So Rabbi Sesso, thank you so much for the opportunity, but my hands and my knees were shaking. I have another funny story, and again, it's because of Roie's legacy. You spoke about basketball. So after 2 months I was here, the wonderful John Abrams helped me to coordinate the Pacers game activity with the Hasten Hebrew Academy volleyball girl team that won at the champion, and I was supposed to host them 150 people in a game of basketball as a ballerina dancer and as a person that doesn't have a clue about basketball. Roie, thank you so much for that. I was supposed to coordinate with the Pacers people and everybody, and to bring most of the community to this kind of opening game. It was my pride and joy, but I was really freaked out from that in a good way. So yeah, back to you, Michelle.
Thank you. And now I'd like to invite all the Shlichim, one after the other, to talk about what you brought to your Shlichut, what you took away from it, and what your most important or impactful project was and why. You have 3 minutes each. We'll start with Etay.
Well, it's really so great to see what's happening now. I think what I really enjoy to bring to the community and I took with me is the fact that I was lucky to start the Shlichut. You need to understand that in 2008, I believe I spent almost the first half year just to walk around to explain to people and to different organizations and different entities, what is Shaliach all about? People ask me, what is a Shaliach? Back then, there was only the Hasten Hebrew Academy Shlichim, and there were other 2 Hebrew teachers Shlichim and the BJE, and that's it. So go to one organization and another, and to go to all the universities, to IU and Purdue and IUPUI and Ball State and the different high schools from Bar-Baf to North Central. There is a long list. Anyway, it's amazing to see each and every Shaliach here and all the faces that really impact by the Shlichim. And I think it's changed us as well, because we take something inside. I can tell you when I went back to Israel, I didn't came back the same Etay I was before. I became much more Jewish. Now, it's not that I wasn't Jewish before, but I was Israeli Jewish before. But now I'm first Jewish and Israeli. When we got married, it was very important for Tamar and myself to have 2 rabbis under the chuppah, conservative rabbi and Orthodox rabbi. And believe me, in Israel, if you know Israel, it's a hell to find 2 rabbis that can do that crazy dance. It's not really something that's common. So I believe it's really changed us. And I think the must impact for me, the must thing that I'm proud about is there are 2 main things. It's something that Michelle Bukai mentioned before. It's the Gefilte Fish Band. It was a crazy idea that we went together with a bunch of kids from different synagogues, from the Orthodox community, Reform, Reconstructionist, the entire party, and we really got them together, and they chose the name Gefilte Fish. Fish is not fish as a dog swimming, fish like the metal band. They picked the name, and they took Jewish songs and Israeli songs and played them rock and roll style, and that was lovely. And the second thing was I was very fortunate to take part of the Garin Sabar program back in Chicago. So I was in charge of about 50 people that made Aliyah to Israel to be lone soldiers. And most of them became combat soldiers and moved to different kibbutzim. And we have now a younger generation here, Maya Bukai. She's one of the prestige members of this program. And to this very day, I'm in touch with many of them. One of them is from Indiana, part of the Arotaza family. And despite the fact I spent maybe 6 months with him teaching him Hebrew, what he did learn in the basic training in a week was more than everything. So I'm really glad to be part of the Shlichut in Indianapolis. And Indiana is my second home. And there is I'm right now in my guest room, but in the living room, we still have the big IU, the red flag over the wall. And Indy is a big part of my life. And I met some of you when I came back to Indy. I try to come to Indy at least every other year because it's my second home. And when the Corona over, who knows? I plan definitely to visit Indianapolis back in 2021. So maybe we can see some of the faces here face to face, not just Zoom. Michelle, back to you.
And we're going straight to Guy.
Yeah, so I definitely agree with a lot of what Etay said. I think that, for me coming into this program, I had two goals or ideas in mind. Maybe I wasn't able to properly structure them back then, but I think that one was for me to try and bring different parts of the community together. How do you not only, think about bringing people from outside, but how do you take people from different parts of the community and manage to help create this one big Jewish community in Indianapolis? And I think, Celebration was one of them, which was super exciting to get people really curious and involved in a different culture. I remember times in Hooverwood where, I had conversations with people there. I played to them. And one of the projects that I was really excited about was that I think we called it Double Mitzvah, where we took mishloach manot, which are the boxes that you make on Purim. And we got an organization in Israel to prep them. It was people with disabilities. And then BBYO collected donations, so then we can spread those candy boxes in Hooverwood. And bringing those all parts of the community together was something that I was always excited about. And I think that, the other thing I'm most proud of is people that I personally had impact on. And I think, I remember conversations with Maya about the program and in Israel. And I remember conversations with Janessa, who's now in Israel, but many others, not just necessarily just people who moved to Israel, but people, who I was fortunate enough to have an impact on. So I'm very proud about that. And I think what I got is really this sense of community. We always talk about the fact that Israel is one big community or a lot of different communities, but I think that only when I got to Indianapolis, it really made me appreciate the meaning of community and what does it mean, when you're in such a huge place, but have this people gathering in many different levels that bring something more meaningful to your life. And I think that now that I travel and I work in different places, and now in London, I keep searching for that. And it's something that is always not necessarily easy for me to explain to people. But I'm glad that I understood it early on in my life. So I'm very grateful for that.
Adi.
I started my shlichut. I choose to put in the center the partnership region, and it was the main thing in all my projects during my shlichut. And one of the special projects for me, except of Saimun, was the project I did with the BJE students from Memory to Zikaron, a project that connected the families of soldiers that died over the years in the army, during their service in the army, and students and families from BJE. It was special for me because I learned a lot through this project about how each community see the other community, and how you can build a bridge between communities, even if it's not such an easy subject to talk and to deal and to work with. And I see now that in Israel there is a project with the brothers of the soldiers, and we did it in Indianapolis 8 years ago, that we connected the brothers of the soldiers, the fallen soldiers, with the other people and hear the stories. And another thing that was really special for me is that people opened their houses and host me for Shabbat Dinner, and my host family, the Mauer and the Koreans, and all the families that asked me for Shabbat Dinner. It was so special for me because I learned a lot about a different lifestyle, how you can be a Jewish in a different way, in a creative ways, And as a Lian, it was my first time in the US, and after at the end of the year, I understand that I didn't know a lot about Jewish life outside of Israel, and I learned a lot. And I feel lucky that on the elevator in the airport, I had the interview with Michelle, and even if my English is not so perfect, and still she saw the passion that I have in my heart. She felt the passion I have in my heart to connect between people, and that's why I'm still doing it. And I forgot the funny story from the other part. Our family, I think the first question my host family asked me is if I have salt in my apartment. And I still think it's a weird question to ask. So this is the funny. And I want to apologize with Elliot for all the trouble that I made. Elliot Gold. It's official. It's official. Apologize.
The beauty is, as much trouble you think you caused, we probably caused more. So.
Thank you, Adi. And Guy, I think that Elliot loved every problem that you guys brought to him. That Marva, you're up.
Hi again. It's so hard to pick just one thing. I think the biggest thing that I remember was what you talked about, Yom HaZikaron and Yom HaAtzmaut, the fact that we managed to took those 2 days and maybe give a little bit of that feeling, that transformation between that one day to the next that we did all in, I think, 3 hours. And the celebration part, which was really meaningful for me. And I think what I took, and that's the reason I came back after being there for summer camp, is just the people. I gained a family. They're not here because my host family from summer camp are not part of the Jewish community, but they were a great family to have, and another opportunity to see people of Indianapolis, not necessarily just the Jewish community of Indianapolis. And just all of the people here that I carry in my heart. Some of them I've met over the years coming back to Israel. Some I'm talking to through emails, WhatsApp, whatever. And I know it had a big impact, and I'm still saying it's my second home, and I miss it a lot. And I think just the love that I had to Israel and the love that you gave back to me was something that is just stays with me forever, and it's hard to explain to anyone else. So it's so fun to see faces that understand it here.
Thank you, Marva. And Roie, Swisa.
Myself. So I will start with what I took away, except that I took this warm home, like sweet community with me. I really took away what is like being a Jew in the diaspora. And I was being amazed that you actively need to do this choice almost every day. Should we send our kids to school during Yom Kippur or Rosh Hashanah? How we live our life according to Jewish values, and what are they? How we celebrate our Shabbat, what we are keeping, and all this, like actively choosing. This what I really took away from your community, and I try to embed it in my life today, like how I will celebrate my Shabbat, if and when, and which community is better for me. And I have to say that since I got back to Israel, I was looking for a community to be a part in. And if it was in Be'er Sheva or if it was here in Tel Aviv, and with small step, with baby step, we're able here to create a very nice community that take these values of actively choosing to our daily life. And what I think I brought in, a lot of curiosity. I came to a community that has tons of history, and I was so eager to learn about the different denominations, to learn about the different people, to learn the story of the south side of Indianapolis, and to learn what is it to be American, and how you can live with the fact that you're American and a Jew and love Israel. Like, I love that. So I think I brought a lot of curiosity, and I was there to listen to each one of you, if it was while we were doing a run or if it was while we having a photography fun time at the sun. This is what I think I brought into. Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you, Roie. And Inbar.
Well, first of all, when I listen to all my predecessors' stories and experiences, it's incredible how we all have the same way of looking at things. And I think it's safe to say that we all took a little piece of Indy back to Israel with us, and we all treasure Indy in our hearts, and probably always will. I think that I came to Indy. One of the most distinguished things that I brought was my smile, and that goes wherever I go. That comes with me, and I can, I don't know. It can indicate that I'm very happy or that I'm nervous, but it is there, and it helps. It helps to start communication with other people, and I was very thirsty to learn and to meet new people and to be introduced to the community, to be introduced to the variety of people that we can meet in a Jewish community in the diaspora. I think I took back a deeper understanding of how a Jewish community outside of Israel works, and the sense of community that Guy already mentioned, and I think Etay mentioned as well as Adi. The sense of community. This is something, even when you live here in a kibbutz or on a mashav, it's different. It truly is different how you manage to maintain a community that wants to be together, that sticks together, that helps one another. This is something that is incredible to me. We had many projects, and Michelle already mentioned the one that I had in mind, Israel Talks. Even though I cannot take credit, I cannot take full credit for it. It was the, as Lindsay Mintz used to call it, the brainchild of both of us. Lindsay Mintz as the, from the JCRC, and myself sat together and started thinking, what should we do? What new projects should be established in Indy in order to address some of the needs of people in the community? And we realized that many people have many questions about issues relating to Israel, but sometimes they're too shy to ask them. So we started this project, which in my opinion was a success. The second year we started broadcasting it as well. So you can actually find some of the videos online even nowadays, I believe. And it was incredible, it was amazing. We managed to expose people from outside of the Jewish community, as well as people from within the Jewish community that weren't involved into so many subjects relating to Israel. And I was privileged to work on that with a variety of people, Michelle and Lindsay and Debbie and so many others. So thank you.
Thank you, Inbar. Roie Gonen.
Honestly, I'm just amazed by all the stories that you guys have. I feel like I haven't done enough hearing from all the way from Etay down to Inbar. So hopefully you guys had a good year with me. Hopefully. But for those who know, I think I brought my great sense of cooking to Indianapolis. I knew how to cook an egg and a toast by the time that I got to Indianapolis. Not very well also, I would say. I was, let's say, a lot of people had to help me with food at the time. But I think the one thing that I took from Indianapolis the most was the people. Like you guys said, the community, and I think it's something amazing to see how this whole community is united. But for me, it was just the small stories, those stories over the meals and meeting people, those one-on-ones and getting to know people more than just their names and what they do and how they do it. And right now in this conversation, like for instance, there's Leah and Aaron Aft, who were one of my host families and are probably one of the most amazing families I've ever met in my life. And I'm very grateful to see and to be small part of their family and small part of Indianapolis in general. And to be honest, right now, I'm just amazed by all the faces and all the people. And hopefully I could have been in Indianapolis right now and be with all of you guys. And just to say that I miss you guys a lot. And hopefully we'll meet up soon and get to share more memories and more experiences together.
Thank you, Roie. And Lian.
Okay, so with this part, I didn't know that other than being a community social worker, community shlicha, I will become a producer. So yeah, I brought something that my host family, Dina Hastings, my amazing adopted mother, gave me a beautiful gift to go to see Wicked. And the reason that I'm showing you this cup is because when you're standing on a platform, on a stage, and when you produce and when you're public speaking, this is something I never done before. I produce small events, yeah, but produce Yom HaZikaron and Holocaust Memorial Day and all kind of events, and everything is on your shoulders. For me, this is something that I'm really taking with me, the ability to do this amazing things. Of course, all the amazing people, my grandpa and grandma, Elliot and Linda, thank you so much for having me at your wonderful city and your heart. Meital Ashkenazi and Dave and Adam Pitzley, my other host family, Pammy and David, like all these people that are in my heart. I'm taking you with me. And the thing that I'm leaving behind is this. So for those of you who knows that, I'm doing this in the 99% of the pictures. This is like just doing good vibes, and I'm leaving behind the tradition, speaking Arabic with Gadi Bukai, and my mother knows that as well, Tislamu Ideki, and all this kind of Middle Eastern tradition, food and stories, and I have so many things that I'm sure that I'm leaving behind, but I will let you to understand that as well. And thank you so much for the opportunity to being your shlicha. Toda.
Thank you, Lian. Okay, now, thank you to all of you. Now, audience, think about anything you want to share, anything you want to ask, and write in the chat button on the bottom. Just say that you want to talk. You don't have to write the whole thing there. As people are thinking about that, you know, I'm looking at all of you, at the you know, the little squares of all of you. You've all been touched by the Shlichim, and you've made an impact on them. And I'm sure that each one of you has something that you want to say, and eventually time will be limited. So I apologize in advance if I don't get to ask, if I don't get to call on everyone. I do want to say that it's thanks to the amazing hospitality of the Indy families that makes the Shaliach program a success. All of you who invite Shlichim for a Shabbat dinner, or to a barbecue, or to travel with you, and welcome them into your home. A special thanks goes to the adoptive families. Those are families that essentially adopted the Shaliach and followed them for the whole year or 2 years that they were here. I'm going to say some names. I apologize in advance if I miss somebody. The Mauers, the Corins, the Rothenbergs, Turows, Pitzleys, Battlers, Afts, Dina Haston, Grandpa Elliott, and again, if I forgot anyone, I apologize. I also have to say a big thank you to the whole Federation staff and the staff of all our agencies. We could not do this without you. Okay, let's start. I'm gonna check, or Jeff, can you help me?
Yeah, I think we'll start with Meital Ashkenazi. I'll take you off of.
Okay.
I'll take you off of mute.
You'll unmute her? Okay.
Meital, we can hear you now.
Hi, everyone. I wanted to thank Swisa because when at the end of his Shlichut here in Indy, he approached me and he came to my house and he asked me if I could be involved with the Israeli-American Council, which was kind of a new idea for Indianapolis. And I just had a baby and I was not really ready to commit to anything. And by him approaching me, just asking someone, would you take this opportunity? Would you be involved? He really changed my next few years of my life. I got involved. And I think the Israeli community here, I did like story time in Hebrew. We did Israeli parties. We did all sorts of events for the Israeli community that just didn't really exist here. And what it took for Roie is to approach me. And it just was a big lesson that sometimes it just takes asking someone and you never know what they're gonna say. So thank you so much for approaching me and trusting me. And it was really at the end of your shlichut, you know, after that, we didn't really work together. So thank you very much for that. You really opened my life to meet people and work with other people and travel to DC, and Inbar was there and was a part of it. So thank you so much, Roie.
Thank you, Meital.
One more thing. I also want to mention Lian. She took her involvement with Hasten Hebrew Academy, which is a treasure here in our city. She took it to a whole different level. I don't think there's a child at a Hasten Hebrew Academy that doesn't know who Lian is, who doesn't remember her tasty, delicious baked goods. And she just took it to a different level. And I think everyone at the Academy will remember her support. Unbelievable. So I had to mention this. Thank you, Lian.
Thanks. Thank you, Meital. And Elliot, go ahead. Jeff will unmute you. Just hold on.
Okay, I'm unmuted now, right?
Go ahead, yeah.
Okay. The experience of dealing with these kids when they came here, they're not kids anymore for the most part, has been one that is like having 8 additional grandchildren for me. And now I see the faces of their kids, like Adi's daughter right there in the middle, I can see her. This is unbelievable. But more importantly, what they have left on our community, what they have brought here to this small Jewish community in the Midwest of the United States is incredible. And we will remember all of them. We are so happy that they're all so successful now. And Lian, I know that you're going to be leaving in a few weeks, but this pandemic has really slowed us down. So it's been a pleasure to have you here. Thank you to all of you.
Thanks, Elliot. And Debbie.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
I'm absolutely speechless. This is just incredible. And I just have to say that what it is that you all have brought to this community and to the families and the lives that you touched while you were here is just priceless. And you always have a place here in Indianapolis. I love that so many of you have come through and visited and stop by and see us. And I hope that we will get the chance to all be together soon. It's just, this is incredible. So Lian, thank you for organizing this. Michelle, thank you for all the work you've done for so many years to bring Israel to Indianapolis. And hopefully we will see you all soon in Israel when we bring our next Indianapolis group. And we'll get to spend some time with each of you. Thank you. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you, Debbie. Dina.
Hey guys, you know how much I enjoy public speaking. This has been amazing as I'm cooking and prepping in order, just listening to all the memories. It's just really amazing. I do want to say that as much as, and kind of to repeat a little bit of what Maytal said as a parent of students from the Haston Hebrew Academy, what the Shlichim have done for our kids in terms of extracurriculars and just giving them that extra appreciation for Israel, although they do get it at school, but they just added so much enrichment to our children's lives. And then on a personal note, just being friends, personal friends with you guys just really, really gave me so much meaning, especially during difficult times. So I thank you for that. And I'm not gonna get emotional.
Thank you. Thank you, Dina, so much for sharing that. John Abrams. I think you're unmuted.
Unmute. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I just want to thank you guys for putting this on. This is really nice. I want to say Mazel Tov to Etay on the baby and to Roie on the engagement. He failed to mention what he took back to Israel was his future wife. I could tell funny stories on everybody, but real quickly on Etay, he was so kind that I kept calling him Etay, and in the Federation, I would mention Etay, and he was too nice to correct me. But when I took him home for the first time, and I saw where our Federation had put him up in this apartment, I thought he just got out of the military, and we put him up in Indianapolis' equivalent of the Gaza Strip. You couldn't go in there without having a weapon safely. And so thankfully we got him moved. And then the other funny thing, Lian already mentioned about the basketball game. She literally didn't know the difference between a basketball and a football. She put on an event at the Pacer game with 150 people. It was the biggest event we've had down there from our community. So I just wanted to thank everybody for all the times that I've had with all of you. Thanks.
Thank you, John. Thank you so much. And thank you for the Shliach Mobile and all the help you've done over the years. Lian's mother, Bella.
Yes. Ima, את יכולה לדבר. Sorry, my mother will speak in Hebrew and I will translate it, but it was really important to her to speak.
אני אדבר בעברית, כי אני לא דוברת טוב אנגלית, ואני אימא של ליאן. אני רוצה להגיד שאני מאוד גאה, מאוד מאוד בליאן, על מה שהיא ומי שהיא, על מה שהיא עושה, על כל הפעילות, על כל השליחות שלה. אנחנו רואים את הכל בווידאו, אני רואה כל פעילות שהיא עושה, אני שמחה, אנחנו כל המשפחה שמחים וגאים בה שיש לנו אותה, ושהיא מגישה את כל הדברים כמו שצריך, היא מציגה את ישראל, אני קצת מתרגשת, היא מציגה את ישראל בצורה הכי יפה, היא עשתה המון דברים למען הארץ, בשביל הארץ ולמען השליחות. ואני רוצה להודות לכל אלה שהיא עבדה איתם, שתמכו בה, למישל בעיקר, הבוסית שלה, שתמכת בה, שהיית איתה, ואני מאוד מאוד מודה לך על כל מה שעשיתם עבורה. אין הרבה מילים לומר בפי, ואני מאמינה שכל השליחות הזאת היא למען הארץ ולטובת היהודים ולקהילה שלנו. אני גאה בך, וכל המשפחה גאה בך, ליאן, ואנחנו מאוד מאוד אוהבים אותך, ולכל השליחים ולכל מי שנמצא שם. תודה לכם, וערב טוב.
תודה. Okay, it's a difficult for me to speak right now. Michelle, if you want to translate a little.
So Lian's mother spoke beautifully. Let me just answer her. בלה, זה היה נהדר, תודה רבה. אני הולכת לתרגם. כפי שאת רואה, ליאן קצת מתרגשת, אבל באמת ליאן עושה חיל פה באינדיאנפוליס. ועכשיו אני אתרגם. So basically, Lian's mother was saying that she is so proud of the work that Lian is doing and all that she has seen. She feels that the work is a real service to Israel and to the Jewish people. And she is so right. She's seen her grow. Now I'm trying to remember all the things. So Lian, if there's anything that I'm missing, tell me. And all the programs that she has done here and her development here has been so meaningful, and how she and the family are so proud. Did I forget anything, Lian?
No, you didn't forget, but Michelle, can I add something before you reach out?
Go ahead.
All the other shlichim, we didn't say that the thing that we left behind is the snow blizzards. Because when I need to drive in the car to Steve Outslander, amazing Steve Outslander Hanukkah program, the Dreidel Olympic, and stuck in the blizzard of the snow, this is something that I will happily leave behind. And toda ima, אני אוהבת אתכם. Back to you, Michelle.
Thank you. And Greg Maurer.
So I want to just tell a funny story about the snow blizzard that I just thought of when Lian mentioned that. I wanted to introduce Swisa to Harry and Izzy's. And we had a dusting. I think half an inch of snow fell. And so halfway there, he turned around and went home because he didn't want to drive in a snow, I call it a dusting, but from Israel, if you grew up in the desert, it was a blizzard. And Michelle, you brought up that you were surprised, or you didn't find out until late about his relationship with Alex. And I'll tell you, when I found out, he's over for Shabbat dinner, and he says, you know, I think I'm going to stay another year. And I looked at him and I said, okay, what's her name?
Yep.
I love this program, and I'm thankful that Megan got connected to it, and we became a host family. She didn't tell us that she didn't tell me I was a host family until Dee was already at our house. And I gave her a bag of tomatoes from our garden, and then on the way home, I thought, oh, these tomatoes they're going to be a lot better with salt. So I turned to Dee and I said, you have salt? And so I love the relationships that we've formed and our kids have formed, and I love going to Israel and having Shabbat dinner with our civic mission, and all the Shlichim come, and it's just been very deeply rewarding and fulfilling to have been a part of this program.
I just want to briefly, I'd like to say thank you, Michelle, for all of the hard work and really for your advocacy of this program as well. Someone just texted me and said that this is the most successful program that our federation has done. And I think that's illustrative by the varied community members that are participating today. But just very quickly, I want to thank all of the Shlichim. You all, each one of you, and I've been crying this whole time. You have such a special place in our hearts. You guys have inspired the Israel advocacy work that Greg and I continue to do. You've inspired our Jewish travels, and most importantly, I would like to thank you
just from the bottom of my heart for the gift you've given our kids. Our youngest would not be at the Hebrew Academy if it weren't the Shlichim who got me through the doors and opened my mind to the reality that it's the best place for a Jewish child and that our son is thriving there. And you helped our kids to have really strong Jewish identity and to be Zionists. We traveled to the middle of the Middle East with a 5 and a 7-year-old because we felt like we had family there. We felt like we were not alone. And I can't thank you enough. We could not have given this gift to our children on it.
You guys are awesome.
Thank you, Megan. Thanks. Rabbi Dennis Sasso.
Well, this has been a wonderful experience. Thanks for organizing it. Each of the Shlichim and the Shlichot enriched our community in so many different ways. I want to thank you all for participating in our Rosh Hashanah services and reciting the tefillah for Medinat Israel. I have wonderful memories from many of our encounters. I enjoyed my intellectual conversations with Roie. I loved speaking Spanish with Inbar, and of course, Lian's unbounded energies remain with us. I think that if there is a cultural note, which I would like to leave with all of us about this experience, it comes from a line in a poem by Yehuda Halevi, the great medieval Zionist poet. And in one of his poems, Ya Ana Emsaecha, God, where can I find you? He's talking about God, but I think here it applies to the human encounter. He said, Uvetzeiti likratcha, likrati emsaticha. And in going forward to meet you, I found you coming to me. So thank you for coming, and we will keep you with us, even as you take something from Indianapolis. Love you all. Thanks.
Thank you, Rabbi. And Sammy Katz has joined us from Israel. Sammy?
Shalom, everybody. Hi. First off, thank you, everybody. This is incredible. We should keep doing stuff like this. My question is for anyone and everyone who wants to answer. Obviously not like right now and all at once, but maybe, well, some of the Shlichim and Michelle and some of the staff maybe know what can people who are in Israel do to help, or how could we be part, including the former Shlichim? What sort of things could be possible? And there really does not need to be an answer given right now, but it's something I thought of. Like I'm here and got good connection, and I'm getting up at 3 in the morning for your chats, and yeah. So.
Thank you, Sammy, and that's a great question, and I don't think I have a full answer for you. But the continued connection, I think that for Hoosiers or for anybody who's not in Israel, the continued connection, and these days it's so easy with Zoom and WhatsApp and whatever method to continue to connect is very powerful. And I think it's a win-win, both for the person who's in Israel and the one that's here. So so that's what I have for the moment. And we're running short. There was one more person.
Fair enough.
Who's...
Oh, I wanted to say thank you, all the people that were there. Roie, I kind of met the second Roie. Etay, Guy, Lian. And the funny thing is, I wanted to say, all of the names are so familiar. I don't know all of you super well. And I think that's a real testament to this. Like I got on the video, got the information for the video chat, and every single one of your names, even the people that I don't know so well, I was like, oh yeah, of course I know that name. And it really goes to show that it really, your spread reaches. And so thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Sammy. Debbie Kaisman. Is Debbie still on?
Okay. So one of the things that one of the memories I have from Etay was that in the beginning, when I got my first laptop, and I didn't know how to put the Hebrew language to type in. And I remember asking people, and somebody said, why don't you ask Etay? He's a Shaliach, and I didn't know him. And he helped me right away without knowing who I was, like why I wanted that, like, you know, like, and then we talked that, you know, about me living in Israel, my brother lived close to Beersheba, and also seeing him, like he was a kid when he came in, and seeing him with a baby, it's so amazing to me. Seeing Adi, I remember Adi, and she still looked like a little girl, like a teenager, and see them with kids. It's like seeing your own kids. And I would never have like, you know, I don't have a kid like as old as usually him, but it's like our little kids. You see them grow, and you see them like, you know, have their own kids. It's so amazing.
Thank you, Debbie. Gadi, and we've got to do this a little quicker now, pick up the pace. We've got a few minutes. Is Gadi on?
Hi, everyone. Shalom. Very short, just to say, now that we are at the end of the program, I was watching the preparation through this past week and the week before, and at this point, I'm so emotionally taking it, because it couldn't be a perfect opening song like Shevet Achim V'Achayot. Here we are from Israel, from London, from the Indianapolis, sitting together, and you know, we are in a very tough times of the Corona time, but this probably wouldn't happen without this situation. So thank you to everybody who is organizing. Thank you for all the Shlichim. It's so great to see all of you and the kids. Amazing, amazing. And looking forward to hear more about your futures. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And Debbie Grant, the last but not least.
Thank you, Michelle. I just wanted to let everyone know that Indianapolis has decided to take a break from the Shlichut program next year. So when Sammy was asking his question, I think one of the things that all of you can do for us is to allow us to tap into the things that you're doing in Israel. We can use technology next year to stay in touch and to continue to bring Indianapolis and Israel closer together until we can bring our next Shaliach back to Indianapolis, next year. So I hope that we can continue to do this once Lian heads home, and it's so important to all of us that we keep this connection. So thank you, and thanks, Sammy, for the question.
Thank you, Debbie. And Zoe, we've reached the end. I want to thank you for participating. It has been emotional and wonderful. The Shaliach program in Indianapolis exists thanks to donations to the Federation annual campaign. Thank you for supporting this wonderful program.